And let's go ahead and get started. So my name is Jerry Frank, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of STRATAFOLIO. STRATAFOLIO is an online software solution designed to help commercial real estate owners run their real estate portfolio while using QuickBooks. And we do this all specifically for companies who own and manage commercial real estate, or for your clients who own commercial real estate. So, what we mean by that is people who own shopping centers, office, industrial type buildings. Really, anything with a multi year lease is who our clients are. My co founder, Uriel Barillas, and I founded the company because as real estate owners ourselves, we recognize the need for having a solution to manage all of this. And I will have Jennifer go ahead and introduce herself.
Yes. Hello. My name is Jennifer Clark. I am the Director of Implementation at Stratafolio. I have a background in accounting myself, as well as owning my own real estate portfolio. My team and I are responsible for meeting with our clients, gathering their information during their onboarding process, and putting it all into the portfolio that is ready for them to use. My whole team is our QuickBooks Pro Advisors, and I am also a QuickBooks Advanced Pro Advisor and certified user in QuickBooks Desktop.
Mhm. And I should stop right here and just say Jennifer and team do a fabulous job of getting all of our clients onboarded the correct way and are really good at offering suggestions on how they can get the most out of the system and be more profitable as well. And that is something that we are sharing with you today as we talk through this. As I mentioned, we will be recording this session so it can be saved and you can go back to it later. If you do have questions throughout, please feel free to put that in the chat session and we will address as we go through if it seems appropriate, or we will hold those questions to the end.
All right, so here is what we are covering today. So in Stratafolio, you can invoice all QuickBooks clients at one time. So we have a streamlined process that saves you time and reduces errors, all while ensuring that you're going to catch those escalations in your clients' leases. We're also going to be able to show you how you can compare clients' assets, apples to apples, across multiple QuickBooks files, assets, and even again, across different clients, ensuring consistency and accurate financial analysis. We're also going to show you how to master CAM reconciliations with the data directly from QuickBooks, making it even easier to manage the complex transactions that CAM is. We're also going to show you how to talk about empowering your clients by allowing owners to access critical financial information at any time, and especially without touching your QuickBooks accounts. They can get into Stratafolio without messing with the QuickBooks. We're also going to talk about reducing your team's workload on invoicing, CAM reconciliations, financial reports requests, and more, just so that you have free up your time to focus on higher value tasks. And then we're also going to touch about expanding your service offerings with CAS, client accounting services, so that help you grow your expertise and grow your firm.
Yeah, and that's a really big one that we will talk a lot about. When we were at Scaling New Heights earlier this year, that was a big thing that was part of the conversation throughout the entire conference. And we do think it's an important thing for all accounting firms to be looking at. So if you are wondering what a Stratafolio client looks like, well, here are the characteristics that you should look at. So they have multiple LLCs. And in most cases, not all, but in most cases, that does mean they're going to have their own QuickBooks account or file for each one of those LLCs. These clients need to be able to compare assets easily. They need to be able to manage their loan debt. They need to be able to manage payroll across one or many company files. And they need to be able to manage lease escalation, certificates of insurance, rent rolls, and do CAM reconciliation and manage files. Most of the time, the teams that we work with are quite small, under 10 individuals, but they're wearing multiple hats. So they're the owner, they're the property manager, and the bookkeeper. And Sometimes that bookkeeping ability really should not be with them. And that's where Jennifer and team will suggest that there might be a better solution for them to help keep things up. Our clients also need the ability to rapidly produce aggregate reports for both lenders and investors. Because most of the time these clients are expanding. So not only are they looking for new development or properties to buy and having to produce financials around that, but their lenders are also requiring that they provide reports as well on a regular basis. And sometimes these clients have outside investors. Most of the time they do. And sometimes they would like their investors to have access to a portal. So ultimately, using STRATAFOLIO is going to reduce not only your workload, but it's also going to reduce your client's workload and make them and you more profitable. Using STRATAFOLIO will reduce the manual effort by 80% by automating a lot of those day-to-day activities and leveling up and giving them a more professional looking experience.
So we all like working with our ideal client. Who gets the most benefit out of Stratafolio is someone who fits these criteria. Not always, but for the most part, this is our ideal. So they would own and manage commercial real estate, meaning offices, industrial, shopping centers, strip malls, anything that has a multi-year lease, a triple net lease, but not residential. Using QuickBooks Desktop, not Mac, just so you know ahead of time, or online. They have multiple company files. Again, to help them compare, we are able to do that. And so there's no limit on how many QuickBooks files. They would typically have more than 20 tenants, and they're losing money through mistakes and efficiency. We all have those clients. We know who those are. And then the other thing is that they have to be showing their financials in a dollar format. So in other words, no multi-currency or pesos or anything that's not a dollar format. Those are our ideals.
Yeah, and the other around the desktop is similar to Intuit. We go back 3 years for desktop for support. We're not able to handle Mac because there is no web connector associated with the Mac version of desktop. And the other thing we didn't mention here is that we are seeing 100% return on investment for the clients that use STRATAFOLIO. So there is a huge bang for the buck in terms of bringing your clients on and getting their data cleaned up and operating efficiently. What we see happening in the commercial real estate is pain. We see owners that are hobbling together disjointed programs and spreadsheets, trying to get them all to work together. We see them using residential software for a commercial portfolio because they think that is the only thing that's available to them. We see them spending weeks every month on manual tasks like lease escalations, creating and gathering rent rolls, doing CAM reconciliation, and of 100 other little things, but it's all being done manually. And finally, we see owners completing double the work by not using software that integrates directly with QuickBooks. What happens when there is this host of different systems that are involved to run the commercial real estate? Well, you have spreadsheets that you have to manually update each month when you're transferring data from one system to another. You have documents and paper files, and you and your clients have important facts that have been memorized in their heads, or at least they think they have those things memorized. And all of this is really quite dangerous. Just imagine if all the lease details and escalations were kept in the owner's head, then the owner becomes very sick and the adult children are now running the operation. Things fall apart very quickly and a lot of money can be missed when this happens. And we have seen this happen far more than once. With each of these red X's on this chart here, it represents time and revenue lost. So what are the dangers of doing it this way, the old way? So there's double entry because there is no direct integration with QuickBooks. which creates room for error because the tools don't speak to each other. And finally, there's lost time that could be spent on doing true value add growth activities. And there's just lost income from mistakes and lost time on bringing on new deals.
So to invoice all QuickBooks clients at once with a streamlined process that saves you time and reduces errors, all while ensuring you catch the escalations in your clients' leases. So to make invoices now for your tenants, they need to be created in your QuickBooks account. So either you're making them manually monthly and checking them against a spreadsheet that was created to keep track of payments and escalations, or you have them in memorized transactions, invoices in the QuickBooks files, and they're making the invoices that you have set up when you originally got the leases. So with both of these scenarios, we have found many missed escalations for our client from this specific situation. So either the memorized transaction didn't start catching the escalated amount in the proper month or it didn't apply accurately. There are many ways that this can happen. So not to mention all the time that it takes you to go in and out of all of the QuickBooks accounts to create the invoices or to verify them. With Stratafolio, you can create all of the invoices for all of your clients with just a few clicks. Seriously, it really is that easy. So no more getting in and out of QuickBooks accounts, verifying the escalation dates on the spreadsheets, or missing any rent that should have been invoiced. You can create them all at once.
The most frequent reason people actually contact us is because someone has missed a lease escalation, and sometimes for years. And yes, we know those tenants did sign a contract, but if both parties have missed it, it becomes really, really awkward and embarrassing to go back and collect that. And it means that owner really doesn't have that great control over their processes. And not only does it mean missed revenue, but it also means that if the lenders or investors caught wind of this, that's not good for them either. So during the onboarding lease abstraction process, which Jennifer and her team are responsible for, we determine when all of those tenant escalations go into effect for the life of the lease. That way, when it's time to invoice, you can easily invoice across all your QuickBooks files in just one click. And during that invoicing, Stratafolio is pulling the correct lease rate for the month that we're invoicing for. So you can do this for every tenant, every month with zero manipulation, and this across every single QuickBooks company file you have. And this activity syncs directly with QuickBooks. So you're grabbing the next sequential invoice number and any sales tax that need to be applied, for instance, in Florida or Arizona. And in this situation, we prepared 16 tenants invoices here with their current lease rates and their current CAM charges across 4 separate QuickBooks company files. And this can be done across as many clients as you have. So as Jennifer was talking about, if you had 20 clients that had commercial real estate and you were setting up their invoicing for the month, you could do all 20 of those clients across 100 separate QuickBooks files at the same time. And you're doing the quality work that is meaning you're pulling in those most current rates. All of this saves you time and effort, and you never have to explain to the owner that you missed a lease escalation ever again.
Yeah, and actually to build on that a little bit more, we do have one client that has over 300 leases. I get lost of how many because they're constantly adding more that has over 20, or actually I think they're at like 30 something QuickBooks accounts. So they're able to put all of them at once. Same thing is if you are having multiple accounts. One thing I did want to pull up is that we do have a question, Jerry. While we're going, let's answer questions while we can. Is from an anonymous attendee. Is there the possibility of setting up the invoices automatically? So currently, right now, we do not have a way to set those to automatically create the invoices it is a once a month kind of thing where you go in and you press the button. You can set it up though for upcoming months to create multiple months at one time if you would like to. We just caution you to please be careful when you're putting it in the rent collection to select the right month for those to make sure you are catching the rent escalations. If you have questions on that and want to know more about it, let us know. But we are working on adding that into a future part of our platform. Is there anything else to add on that one, Jerry, or did I cover that one?
I think you got
Okay.
it.
All right. Just making sure. So let's get into the ability to compare your client's assets. So in Stratafolio, you can compare apples to apples across different QuickBooks company files, assets, and even clients to ensure consistency and accurate financial analysis. So the owner's dashboard and loan dashboard can be sorted by different organizations, entities, and again, even assets. This allows you, as the accountant, to view your client's information on a global level with multiple QuickBooks accounts all in the same place. It also allows you to compare the prices that they are renting per square foot with other clients that may be in the same area, giving them some insight as to how their assets compare to others in their own portfolio, as well as those you work with. So as the accountant, with multiple clients using Stratafolio, you can access them easily. This is a slide to show you what it would look like if you were an accountant logging in and had two different organizations, two different clients set up. So you can view all of your clients' entities at the same time, or you can view one client's organization's entities at a time, depending on which way you would like to do it. So let me get into sharing my screen in just a second, and I will show you a live demo of you can go about that. So in here, you will see that I am logged in as Jane Doe, and Jane Doe is as an admin on two separate accounts at
Oh,
organizations.
you're going to need to share your screen, Jennifer.
I'm sorry, it said I was sharing screens. I apologize.
Now you
Is
are.
that better?
That
Okay,
is.
sorry. I thought it said participant sharing. So I apologize. So Jane Doe is logged in as two separate organizations. So if you have two separate clients, this is how it would look when you logged in under the organization page. From here, you can click on the one, just like we always tell you, anything blue in Stratafolio is a hyperlink. You can click on here and get into just that one organization if you'd like to. Or if you are, again, creating invoices for all of them, you can open up your rent collection and be able to create invoices for everyone all at once simply by selecting the page and then adding invoices. This is our demo account, so I have some accounts not hooked up. But that's the basic concept of how you would be able to do that, as well as using this organization to be able to compare and filter out the different, so only seeing the one company or the other. This is also the same in the dashboards too, where you would be able to see on the dashboard the same information of being able to sort it by organization, only seeing the one organization, or having multiple assets being shown. However, it makes sense to separate that information out for you. All right.
Yeah.
Send it back to you, Jerry.
Yeah. And the nice thing also there is with Stratafolio, we're able to show across all of your tenants, all of their lease rates, what they're collecting for rent per square foot, for CAM per square foot. So then when you're talking to your clients about potentially why they are struggling or why they are doing so well, it offers you you have some insight and some expertise that you can share on potentially they are under market and they need to be looking at a different solution at the time of renewal, or if there is something else happening with that client that you have that you can affect in some way. All right, let me go back.
So next, we are going to talk about mastering camera reconciliations with the data directly from your QuickBooks. So we're using the data that's already in your QuickBooks. It just makes it even easier to manage these complex transactions. If you have ever done a CAM reconciliation for commercial real estate, you know how challenging and time consuming these can be. You are pulling in the data from QuickBooks and entering it into spreadsheets, then going through all of the different transactions to verify that they're CAM expenses, then seeing which tenants aren't going to pay for those expenses and which ones will. Then you have to calculate out the pro rata share for each of those tenants and put it into another document that the owners and tenants can understand. Of course, this is all happening in January and February when you're also trying to close the books, getting items to your CPA for taxes, and answering a bazillion questions from the owner all at the same time. So with STRATAFOLIO, you eliminate all of those pain points. The data is pulled directly from the QuickBooks file and into the proper accounts and categories for the tenant's CAM reconciliations. This saves you all the pain and frustration at the time when that's already at its peak, your frustration. I know this, been there with you, done this before myself. So we understand and we feel your pain. We are here to help. So, yep, go ahead, Jerry.
All right. So a perfect example will be a client that we've had in the past. His name was, we're going to call him Mark. And as the property owner of a commercial building, Mark had to deal with CAM reconciliation every year, which he generally didn't get to until March or April, because we all know the early part of the year is busy for everyone. And one year, a tenant disputed the charges, claiming that some of the expenses were not related to common area maintenance. Mark had to spend hours reviewing lease agreements and invoices, and even had to involve a lawyer to resolve this dispute. So this experience made him realize how challenging CAM reconciliation is. But even more, he realized the risk and cost associated when it is not handled correctly. And what created this dispute were two things. One, poor bookkeeping, and two was a lack of a system. So with STRATAFOLIO, we work with your team or your team at your accounting firm to help you set up and clearly identify the reimbursable expenses associated with CAM reconciliation. So these categories are fully configurable and are based on your chart of accounts for your client. And they're calculated based on the tenant's pro rata share. The categories displayed here are CAM, insurance, and taxes. And since our main focus is commercial real estate, we understand you need to have flexibility regarding your operating expenses. And with our product, you get that. We realize that every tenant is a separate negotiation and they have separate things that are agreed to. So during that onboarding process that Jennifer's team leads, we work with reconciliations that have been done in the past, or we work with what has been provided by those previous owners to set it up as close as we can so that you're getting what you expect to get. And all the while giving you some helpful tips and best practices on the things that we have learned over the years. This part can be customizable and can be run, and you can run the reports as detailed as your QuickBooks files are set up. And on top of all of that, each QuickBooks file can be set up completely differently to work with the requirements written within those leases. And you don't have to get into a spreadsheet. So here is that CAM category, which includes all of the common area maintenance specific to that property's location. And you can also add taxes and insurance. You set your budget for your tenant at the beginning of the year or period, and at any time you can see exactly what was budgeted in relation to the actuals. So in this example, we budgeted a little over 109,000, and we have invoiced at this point, about 36,000. So if we ran that reconciliation today, we would owe this tenant about $6,000 because we're currently running under budget. And we only have about $31,000 in expenses. Now, to run a CAM reconciliation report, you select the time period you want to run that report for, and in just one click, you're able to produce a professional looking CAM reconciliation report that can be shared with your tenant. Now, if you're working with your client and they are curious about how close they are to, hitting some caps on their leases, you have easy access to that at any point in time. So you're going to be able to confidently and quickly produce your CAM reconciliation report shortly after the start of the year with no double entry. You get a professional report that is customizable, ready on demand, and this helps reduce the risk of potential litigation. But more importantly, your clients aren't carrying those extra expenses, and they're not surprising that tenant with a mid-year large cap catch-up invoice. And it's complete peace of mind for your clients. So it's a win-win all the way around for you, your clients, and those clients' tenants.
So empowering your clients by allowing owners to access critical financial information anytime without navigating QuickBooks themselves or requesting reports is a big request that we get. In Stratafolio, an organization can have as many users as you want. They can be set up as different levels as well. So if you have a property manager, they can get access to Stratafolio without looking at the financial information like the loans and the owner dashboard. You can also set up this for those owners who do not have access for QuickBooks for a reason. We all know those clients. They like to get in there and make journal entries or move things around that you have spent hours doing cleanup to only do the cleanup again. So with Stratafolio, you also have read-only users as well. This allows an owner, an investor, a lender, or a lawyer, or any other person who may need access to the property's information, but they should not or would not have access to your QuickBooks account. They will see the same things that you do for the cash flow and the dashboard, and you can even send them a URL of the exact page and information that you want them to look at, all while not being in your QuickBooks. So you can reduce your team's workload on invoicing, CAM reconciliations, financial report requests, all that kind of stuff, and more to free up time to focus on higher value tasks. We have already talked about the time saved from invoicing all your clients at the same time, not having to deal with lease escalations and CAM reconciliations at the end of the year. But we can also save you time in so many other ways. How many times has a client asked you to give them a copy of a lease, or have you asked a client, sorry, to get a copy of the lease because you need to look up something and you have to wait a week till you get it? Well, not a problem in Stratafolio. When we do the onboarding process, we add the copies of the lease into Stratafolio, and they can be found by you as a user or by the client can find those files as well easily in a files folder or if they're attached to lease abstract. So there's many different ways to get to the files as well. How many times have you needed a copy of a loan document or amortization schedule? Again, not an issue because we upload those during the onboarding process for you as well. And then how many times has a client sent you a text or email or a frantic phone call asking about how one of their assets is doing or their cash flow for a property, all of that kind of information? Again, you guessed it, we have that information at their fingertips in Stratafolio, making it easy for them to find the information without having to bug you if you're working on a deadline or without having that awkward conversation of, I'll get back to you. All of this helps you to free up time and spend your time in more ways that can help your client impact their bottom line. So Expanding your offers, your services offerings with CAS will help you sell your expertise and grow your firm. We just talked about all of those tasks that you will not need to do or do as often for your client. We all have those. But we want you to focus on how we can help you expand your offerings with CAS too. Using Stratafolio with commercial real estate clients will give you some powerful tools that you don't have with QuickBooks alone. You can offer the financial um, planning and forecasting with all of that data at your fingertips. Using the dashboards and analytics that we provide, you can help make strategic plans for their future together. If you want to extend your services, you could also take the role of entering in the leases and running the monthly rent rolls for them. You also may be familiar with the pain of tracking tenants' certificates of insurance, COIs, and the endless attempts of reaching out to the tenant or the insurance agent for that information. Without question, managing COIs is a burdensome process, but it has to be done by someone. And unfortunately, we have seen the negative outcomes when this process is not managed and tenants accidentally forget to renew their insurance, and then a natural disaster occurs. The owner is caught holding the bag for all repairs. So in Stratafolio, the COI management is much easier due to our internal AI application for all of the COIs. Once the COI is uploaded and the form is populated by the AI, then you are simply acknowledging that the data is correct. The system is reminding everyone to stay on track with their alerts too. So you can create camera reconciliation reports quickly and effortlessly in a timely manner to make sure that they are not waiting for payments. And most of all, you can help them grow by analyzing what assets are performing well and which ones are not. Due to all of the alerts that we send you as well, you can stay on top of everything and look like the professional you are. So our onboarding team is here to support you however we can. So we look at this as a joint effort because we want to make sure that you succeed while we succeed with you. So please make sure that you reach out if you have any questions.
All right. And that brings us to our last slide, which is Q&A. If you're interested in having a specific demo, please reach out to me and I'm happy to do that. And we do have one question about, do we have a partner program? Again, if you have an interest in that, please reach out to me. We have a process that we go through to onboard specific new partners to the Stratafolio partner list. What other questions do we have?
Give it a minute to see if anyone else has any other questions on other ways or would like to see something that we can kind of explain. By the way, we also, just so you know, have a lot of blog articles written about the different aspects of commercial real estate. And then we also do have the knowledge base articles. So the knowledge base articles are different than the blog in the fact that those are step-by-step directions with pictures, because we all like pictures, that explain how to use Stratafolio, how to use certain features, explain more about the features. But if there's ever any articles or anything that you need more information about that we don't have a knowledge base on, please let us know, because that's how they've all been written, is by people asking questions, and we are more than happy to help explain whatever we can.
We do have another question. Will you have the ability to white label in the future? It is something potentially in the future. It's not in the immediate near-term future, but it's something that we've considered for the future.
One other thing I did want to also mention while I'm thinking about it too is that we also do have ACH is one of our other features as well, that we do have that service available in through Stratafolio. There is a service fee. However, you will find that our service fee is much less or comparable, at least, to other providers for those tenants. where the tenant can set up their portal and can set up an auto pay or a one-time payment. And we post those payments directly to your QuickBooks for you. You don't have to link it up or anything like that. We take care of all of that for you. If you have QuickBooks Online, especially, it comes through immediately. The payment posted comes through immediately. Want to make sure that was clear. So if you have other information about ACH or how that works too, we have more information on our website, or again, Jerry or I are more than happy to have more conversations about that.
Yeah, yeah. Any other questions for us about how the onboarding works here at STRATAFOLIO, or anything else about how the product works? All
I guess
right.
I did want to say one other. See, I keep coming up with more things for you, Jerry. Sorry, but so I did want to mention that as the accountant for your clients, we really want to stress that we want you to be part of the onboarding process and the entire process, so that way you know what the client knows, what they don't know about Stratafolio, and can be really, we can partner together with them to make them succeed. So if you want to be involved as much or as little as you would like to be, we encourage your participation with the onboarding process when we're working with the clients.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can see us at Intuit Connect. We will be there at the end of October, and we will also be back in Las Vegas for AICPA for construction and real estate as well. So if you happen to be attending that, please stop by our booths and say hi. Jennifer and I will both be there. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking time to meet with us. We will be sending out a recording of this. You have access to this. Take care and have a great day.
Thanks.